This is Mac OS Ken.
Intel and the ugly breakup. A former Netflix exec has some free advice for Apple. And bring Ronald D. Moore's latest dystopia into your home. It's Friday, the 12th of February, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Amazon Pharmacy. Your medication made easy. Learn more at amazon.com/MacOSKenRX. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. So I'm not sure Intel's taken the whole Apple Silicon thing well. A piece from Mac Rumors says the chip maker is running an anti-Mac ad campaign, while the headline says it's highlighting the shortcomings of Apple's M1. That telling doesn't seem 100% accurate. According to the report, one of the ads posted to Twitter this week busts out Intel's power in the gaming space. In that ad, the piece says Intel mentions Rocket League, a game that is not available on Apple's platform. Is that a shortcoming of the M1? More like victim of a business decision. In January of 2020, Rocket League announced that it would be ending support for the Mac and Linux. According to the website Big Tech Question, that was a decision made by Epic Games, which was Rocket League's new owner this time last year. The other ad mentioned in the piece would seem to have even less to do with the M1. According to the report, an ad from last week, highlighted by 9to5Mac, points out the lack of a touchscreen on Apple Macs. Only a PC offers tablet mode, touchscreen, and stylus capabilities in a single device, reads Intel's tweet. Going for a disingenuous hat trick, Mac Rumor says earlier this week, Intel launched a series of carefully crafted benchmarks designed to prove that Intel's 11th generation processors are better than the M1 chips, but the benchmarks were designed to favor Intel machines and were described by Apple columnist Jason Snell as M1 unfriendly. Hey, remember this time last year when Intel thought the Mac was awesome? Bit hard to figure out what changed. Running on a similar track to Intel's, Netflix co-founder Mark Randolph has some free advice for Apple. Spend more money if you want Apple TV Plus to succeed. Cult of Mac highlights comments Randolph made to Yahoo Finance. Comments like, what you have to demonstrate is that you have the content, and if Apple spent 1/4 as much time on content as they do on giveaways they really could play, and they're still not in it with both feet. The thing about a co-founder of Netflix saying what Apple TV Plus has to do to succeed is he's a co-founder of Netflix. DVDs or streaming, Netflix has always been about video. It had to do well in video or it would fail because video is what Netflix does. Apple TV Plus has time to grow because video, while splashy, is a fraction of what Apple is into. And other stuff's doing well enough to keep Apple TV Plus going for a while. For example, a piece from Apple Insider highlights new estimates from Sensor Tower. According to the report, global spending on the top 100 subscription apps sold through Apple's App Store hit $10.3 billion in 2020. Now, it's always dangerous when I do math, but I'm willing to try. Let's assume for a moment that all of those subscriptions have been active for over a year, and Apple is only collecting a 15% commission. That's still revenue of $1.5 billion going Apple's way, long before we get to iPads and Macs and iPhones and the other stuff Apple's into. According to Netflix's own financial statements, the company's net income for fiscal year 2020 was just under $2.8 billion on revenue of just under $25 billion. With just the top 100 subscriptions, Apple's taking in half of what Netflix got to keep last year. In other words, they don't have to hurry on Apple TV+. I actually hadn't intended to use the Sensor Tower estimates as part of the Netflix story, but you know how things go. The thrust of the Apple Insider story was how much better Apple's App Store seems to have done in subscriptions compared to the Google Play Store. Nearly 4 times better, according to the report, where better is measured in terms of revenue. Highlighting the Sensor Tower estimates, Apple Insider says global spending on the App Store's top-performing non-game subscription titles grew 32% year-over-year to reach $10.3 billion. Growth was similar in the U.S., with spending increasing 25% to hit $4.5 billion. Google's growth was growthier, though it still comes up short. While subscriptions for the robot army grew 42%, they topped out at $2.7 billion globally in 2020 versus $1.9 billion in 2019. Hey, remember the story a couple of weeks back about privacy labels in the App Store not being 100% accurate? Yeah, that's gotten some congressional attention. The Washington Post ran a piece in late January saying that App Store privacy info for more than half the apps it checked out showed misleading information or completely false information regarding the info apps were pulling off of user devices. Now, a piece from Apple Insider says the U.S. House Committee on Energy and Commerce has some questions. In a letter to Apple, the committee says a privacy label is no protection if it is false. We urge Apple to improve the validity of its app privacy labels to ensure consumers are provided meaningful information about their app's data practices and that consumers are not harmed by these potentially deceptive practices. So, tell us what you're going to do about it, please. According to Apple Insider, the House Committee has asked Apple to provide information about the App Store privacy system, including details on Apple's auditing process and whether the company takes enforcement action if an app doesn't provide accurate information. The committee has given Apple until the 23rd of February to answer its request. More news in a moment, but first a word from Amazon Pharmacy. Your medication made easy. I like when something makes immediate sense. Amazon Pharmacy does that. About the only place I go these days is the grocery store because I'm particular about my food. But if a doctor prescribes me medication, it's not like I'm looking for the ripest meds. There is no need for you to go anywhere for your prescriptions. Not with Amazon Pharmacy. If you're an Amazon Prime member like me, you know how good Amazon is at getting things to you. Well, they can do that with your medication, too. Just have your doctor's office send your next prescription straight to Amazon Pharmacy, and your meds turn up at your door. It works with most insurance plans nationwide, but Amazon Prime members paying for a prescription without insurance can save with Amazon Pharmacy. Their pricing is clear and understandable, they're HIPAA compliant, and you can get in touch with a pharmacist 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you're still going to the pharmacy to pick up your meds, have them come to you instead. Amazon Prime members can save on prescription medication when not using insurance and get free 2-day delivery. Learn more at amazon.com/macOSKenRx. That's all one word, all lowercase, amazon.com/macOSKenRx. amazon.com/macOSKenRx. Tim Cook's turned up on the cover of Outside magazine. Mac Rumors says Apple CEO talked with the magazine about, wait for it, being outside. According to Cook, working at Apple Park is like working in a national park with a feel that brings the outside in and the inside out. Somebody get a desk for Wonko the Sane. Of course, once you're outside, you might want to, do something. Quoting the report, "We all know intuitively, and now with research, that physical activity is a key part of longevity and quality of life," Cook said, reiterating that Apple's greatest contribution to mankind will likely be in the health and wellness space. Come on, spoilers! Look for Outside Magazine on newsstands, assuming you can actually find a newsstand. The magazine is also available on Apple News Plus. College students are getting twice as much time to decide about Apple Music. Cult of Mac says instead of the standard 3-month trial, students in higher education can now get 6 months before they must shell out a monthly fee. The extended trial is only available to new Apple Music customers, and it runs through the 30th of April. Now, if they've got any disposable income at all, it kind of seems like a no-brainer. While the service runs the average user $9.99 per month, the cult says Joe and Jane College get it for just $4.99, with Apple TV Plus currently thrown in for free. And finally today, something interesting for you fans of the Apple TV Plus series For All Mankind and or fans of stabs at augmented reality. Apple issued a press release Thursday announcing the release of the augmented reality-focused app For All Mankind Time Capsule. I played with it a tiny bit. As an AR experience, it's pretty neat. Certainly more impressive than the floating logos Apple's been hiding in its virtual event announcements. As a storytelling device, well, it seems like a great idea. I never finished the first season of the show, but this actually makes me want to do so. That's because the app builds a decade-long bridge between seasons 1 and 2. Through an interactive AR experience, the release says, fans join one of the characters as he examines keepsakes full of details about the off-screen lives of the characters and world of For All Mankind, where every object tells a story. The app is apparently optimized for devices with a LiDAR scanner. I do not have one of those, though I still found it pretty impressive. Check it out for yourself if you like. For All Mankind Time Capsule is free. It's available now in the App Store. Season 2 of the show begins next Friday, the 19th of February, on Apple TV+. Coming up in a few minutes, the After Show's Mike Rose joins me to talk about the past 15 years for Apple as well as the next 15. What's wowed him? What surprised him? Find out on the show in a few minutes. Look for it and subscribe wherever you get podcasts. We'll hear answers to those questions from macOS Ken Live listeners today. That's happening at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/KenRay. Catch it live or on replay there. You can also grab the audio podcast, macOS Ken Live, wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Amazon Pharmacy. Your medication made easy. Learn more at amazon.com/macOSKenRx. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.